What if we could go back in time and play a keyboard from the 1700s? Wouldn't that be exciting? So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. This is Simeon, and I'm so excited to be able to present to you the 1767 German Spinet from Realsamples. And Realsamples has been a leader in preserving these beautiful instruments, and not only preserving them, but sampling them so that we can experience them in our own studios with our own keyboards. And it's going to be a lot of fun exploring this beautiful instrument, so come along. So we have HALion Sonic pulled up. You can also use this in the HALion Sonic SE player, as well as the full version of HALion. And so we're going to go to our instrument browser, and we can go down, and then we will see Spinet 1767. It's just like a time machine. So when we click on this, it's going to give us two different presets, equal and velocity tunings. And let's load up the equal tuning here and go to the edit screen. And here you have this magnificent Spinet. And it's exciting to think that we have an instrument from the 1700s right here under our fingers. It's really amazing. So one thing about these spinets, they are not like our pianos today, the pianoforte that had the dynamics of being able to play soft and loud. So what happens with the spinet, there is a pick, but a harpsichord kind of plucks it, and the spinet actually, kind of hits it, like a pick. And so that's how we get the sound. So because of that, you're basically going to have the same dynamic layer. And what Realsamples has done is that they have given us 8 different round robins of when the key is pressed down. So it does not give you that crazy machine gun effect. The other thing that Realsamples has done is that they've given us 4 different types of release samples for each note. I know that's like 8, but 4. And when you think about, if you go back again to the 1700s, that these acoustic instruments, the builders and the craftsmen wanted to make them really as quiet as possible regarding mechanical noises and that kind of thing, because they didn't want anything to bump and creak and compete with the other instruments. And so they tried to keep those noises down to a minimum, but because it's a mechanical instrument, we need those little imperfections. You need those little bumps and scratches. So what Realsamples has done is they've given us control over that through the key release control in the middle. Now, at its default position, it's just the natural way it was recorded. So let's take a listen to that. And you can hear just like little different things happening. So now let's crank it all the way up, and so we can really hear what's going on. And you hear all of those things resetting and that type of thing. Let's turn it all the way down. And without those release samples, well, you just might as well be playing just another keyboard sound. So that's very important to just to have that little bit of character in there. Listen to how rich that is. And I'm in B flat. And you'll hear that the pitch is really interesting. It was originally sampled at 413. 413, yeah. And then they've since in the instrument brought it up to 440. But we can take this pitch control and go to 413, which is really something. So let's just type that number in, 413. And let's just hear, it's almost like a entire half step down. They did all kinds of different tunings back then for the instruments to project and to really sometimes to keep the instruments from being pulled apart by all the forces being put on. When you tune a string really high, you're exerting a lot of force. And when you distribute that across a keyboard, a piano keyboard, you can imagine the tension just, pulling something apart like that. So that's kind of interesting. That's the original tuning, 413. But let's go Control-click and get back to 440, where things sound a little bit more like they should to our ears. The spinet is similar to a harpsichord, but yet not a harpsichord. And I think that's kind of like an unusual thing to kind of think about. And again, this was built in 1767. So we've got some key release noises here that we can adjust that volume. And you can hear that reset. And then we've already looked at the pitch. And let's look at this, the decay. Now, it's right at 12 o'clock. So if we take it all the way over, so it rings out a little bit more. So it does have a lot of natural decay. And so what we'll do here, what I found is when you're doing like fast passages and things, and then when you get into that, it's almost like a clavinet. So you can get a little funky with that. And so that decay is almost too short. And so you can adjust that a little bit. I like it to have like a little bit of a ring out. Yeah, it's getting me going here. It's crazy. So that decay really helps you to adjust the character of the... And then the sustain, of course, you can hold it out. And listen to that bottom end. Okay, so now you notice that we kind of ran out of keys because it stops at this F, because though the spinets were not full 88 notes, but it still has a really rich quality to it. So we see in the center here the temperament, and we can go between equal temperament and the velocity temperament. So what this does, it takes certain notes in the scale and it tunes them a little bit differently. Sometimes it gives a little brighter tone, or it just causes the notes to interact in a really unique way. So let's switch that over and let's just kind of get a taste of the velocity temperament. Now what I want to do, I'm going to go back to equal temperament and just kind of play a scale in C. This is velocity still. Now let's go back to equal temperament. And velocity. It's very subtle, but you can really hear the difference. It just kind of gives it a little different timbre. We've got to, I like these quick controls because it lets us get to some of the main, the most used controls very quickly. So we've got like a little early reflection reverb here. Wow. And having those early reflections almost sounds like a guitar type of sound or a strumming type of sound. You're hearing that bouncing back. Now let's just take the mix all the way over to the wet side. And you hear all those early reflections coming back. It's almost like a delay type of thing. So that's really cool. And still on the velocity tuning, which kind of gives it, again, some more character. So the thing is, you can take these instruments so much farther than where they started with using effects and using creative things and layer them with some pads. And I tell you what we can do. Let's do this. I want to go ahead. I've got the string here. I'm going to go ahead and load up another. I'm going to load up Studio Strings. I think Studio Strings is just so nice. And let's go to the section here. And let's go to Full of Feelings. And then what I want to do here, I'm going to just take the MIDI channel. I want to put the MIDI channel on part 1 and 3. There's something in here that I might show you later on our playing out here. So now, let's see what we got. Yeah, so now we've got the strings and we've got the listen to that. Now let's go to the mix page and bring these strings up a little bit more. So you could just layer and mix and it's just so nice. And you hear that. It's just so beautiful. And listen to how rich that sound is. It's so cool. Yeah. Realsamples has just done a beautiful job in capturing these instruments, and they have a beautiful hall that they capture these in. and it's in the National Museum in Germany of all of these beautiful musical instruments. Well, I want to thank you for taking this time travel journey with me, this joyful journey as we explore another beautiful instrument from Realsamples and HALion. So make sure you check out all the information, and I look forward to seeing you again on another joyful journey wherever it may take us. So stay joyful, and I'll see you next time.